To be ready for part 3, you want to pre-mix some colors for the clouds. You want warm and cool lights. So warm whites, we're going to put in a little bit of orange or a little bit of yellow or a little bit of reds. And it's nice to get them to the same value. Then it will read as a unit, but it will have some interest because there'll be different colors on the light side. And for the cool side of the clouds, I want to have both very pale blues and pale lavenders. The clouds get warmer as they come forward, and they get cooler as they recede. So we want to have those cool colors in the clouds in the background. So this is linen, oil prime linen mounted on canvas, and I've gotten it pretty close to the stage where we ended the previous one with, except for that I've done a bit more with the clouds. So I'm going to go back over these clouds with you with colors that we're going to mix in before I move on to the greens. Usually I do all my darks first, my dark trees, and get those in. We've got the underpainting on them, so I'm okay, but I probably will stay away from the edges here. This is really dry and your edges aren't going to be really dry. So you can get some bleeding of the red oxide into the clouds, which is not that desirable. Because this painting is totally dry, I have a walnut alkyd medium, that I'm just going to put a very thin layer over the top, and it serves the same purpose of having that nice soft underpainting with the paint kind of slippery and able to move around easily. This gives us that quality. Okay. Put the lid back on that. So let's go to the clouds. And here's colors I've pre-mixed. And this is what you can do. So there's a gray. And to make the gray, I used alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, and a very small amount of cad yellow lemon. And I've tried to get dark to light in the gray range, and then have some warm colors that are light. This is going to be the warm side of the clouds. So this one has orange mixed with white. This has yellow and orange mixed with white, and this has just the yellow. And this one is the Indian yellow. So it's very warm. This is looking a little cool to me. I think if I wanted it warmer, I'd add a little more orange to it, so it won't be a cool color. We want warm on this side and maybe get slightly cooler as we move across. Whenever you add white to a painting, to a pigment, you're lightening it and cooling it. And to mix your color out, you probably know this, but I'm just going to say it anyway. You always use the back of your knife. So I don't know if you can see in here. I'll put it over here. So that's a little bit cooler. I want to be sure there's a progression as I go across. I have titanium white. I have permalba and titanium zinc white, which is the Utrecht white. It's a mixture, and it's a little bit brighter and stronger in pigment quality than just a straight titanium. So see how bright that is? Nice and bright. Okay. So you gotta see, make sure I have clean brushes to start this. Not real clean, so I'm gonna grab another brush. You work with the biggest brush you feel comfortable with. I think this is an 8. And mix up your piles of paint so that you can just pick up a bunch and lay it down. I want to add a little orange to this too. I want a little bit warmer, I think. We'll see what it looks like. If it's too glaring when I get it on, we'll tone it down with some more white. But orange is warmer than yellow because it's got red in it, right? So if we start, maybe I'm going to tone that down. Your cadmium colors are very strong tinting, so you don't need a lot of them when you mix it with white. Okay. So let's just see. I want the orange on this side. I got to think about, I'm going to have a frame on this, so I don't want it to kiss the edge too much. Putting my orange color on here, and then I'm going to mix to the combination of yellow orange as I come across. And then it'll just be yellow as I get to here. So I'm going over where I've just hadn't left it a little bit light. Trying to get soft edges. Keep the edges soft. I'm going to put all the lights on first. Still on. Whoops, that's pretty bright. Moved up. It's hard to think and talk at the same time. Okay, I'm going to go back over that pink with the white yellow because I want the warmth over here. I want the transition maybe a little more gradual, but that's something you can work out over time. It doesn't have to be perfect from the get-go. Change that. Okay, so we want to put another layer of paint on our grays here, which were ultramarine blue. It was like a lavender, ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, and a teeny bit of yellow to gray it. You always put in your complementary color to gray. Try not to go to black. It's it kind of kills color. I don't even have black on my palette unless I'm drawing a bicycle or I'm doing something that I feel like I need it for it. Put a little bit more of the blue in here. Okay, so I've got nice soft color here. Now we can go back and get another brush because we want to keep this one for our lights on the clouds. I'm going to go back and get another brush for the grays. And I'm going to see, I've got a lighter gray. Start with the light gray. I've mixed up 3 grays. I don't know if I explained that, but I mixed up 3. There's not a lot. I might have to get more. I didn't mix up a lot of paint. This is each one getting successively lighter as I go down here. So the part closest to the light side is going to be the lightest gray we mix. And I'm just going to work that in. And the darkest part will be underneath the clouds. They form shadows, they form their own shadows. Then we can go to the second level gray for lower down. As we start to get into what's happening underneath here where it should get cooler into the distance. You can change those cloud shapes as you go along, make them interesting. Try to keep them different so there's each shape's a little bit different than the one next to it. Makes it more interesting. We're all for catching the eye. I heard one artist used to say we want our viewers padlocked to the canvas, you know, really kept there and held there. So there's all kinds of interesting things to look at. Trying to pick up quite a bit of paint. I'm just at this stage when I'm doing this cloud business, I just want to set it down. I don't want to like scrub it. I scrubbed in the beginning to get all that canvas painted in, but at this stage, I just want to set it. You see that value is a lot lighter than what was underneath there for my drawing. That's okay. I think what I might do before I stop is just put a little bit more paint here. So the furthest away are going to be the coolest and the lightest. So we can use our coolest gray that we mixed up out of the 3 values. We'll put that furthest away, and that's on top of the mountains. The mountains are coming through clearly because the fog's below them instead of above them, which it can be. And we'll go to our next grayer color for the next layer. We can just paint over that. I still have my light color here. I might work that in places, just on the tops a bit. Gentle touch. Sure, I want it all to be in line, so I'm gonna bring some forward a bit so it's not just like stripes across there. We want some variety there as well, but cooler, so add more white. Sometimes it happens that the clouds underneath pop up above the ones that are above them. They're not always just marching. Okay. Here we might want to unify these two, make it one instead of 2 little ones. There, I want to just make sure I have enough paint in here. It looks okay for now. The other thing that'll make this come out is when we get a cooler, blue, lighter blue behind the clouds. We'll pop the clouds out too. So I'm just thinking we could put that in now since that's not going to interfere with anything. Let's usually at the horizon line, the sky is more blue-green, and then it gets more red-blue as it gets overhead, more ultramarine. So for that, I'm going to use a cobalt blue. I sometimes just mix one color on top of another, and I'm going to put in a little bit of Viridian to make for that green-blue. But I need a big pile of it. You can hold it up, too dark. Hold it up and you want a value that's lighter than your clouds. Let's just put a little bit on. That's going to be good. When you see clouds, you do see that little rim of gray around them. So when we paint this in, we're going to just come up to the edge of the cloud. We don't have to overlap. And make sure you mix up a big enough pile. We're covering a big area up there. So I'm going to add more white, maybe a little bit more cobalt. I should clean my palette in between, or my palette knife, and then a little bit of Viridian. And we might want it to go warm to cool as we're coming across here. So let's take half of our pile and add a little bit of our yellow, our lightest yellow to it. That's going to make it a little green with a little light in it. Put that over here. We like to change the temperature. Have this guy have some variety to it. And not to cut it off in the middle, but to cut it off somewhere over here. Here's the blue. Work the blue in. Okay, half an hour left. All right, and so now I'm going right to the blue. Just painting it around. Just smooth out your sky. Take your lumps and bumps out of it. Sometimes you get paint. I get lumps of paint in mine. So there we have a transition from warm to cool earth. Could add a little bit of ultramarine on this end if you want a third transition. That concludes part 3 of my video, Painting the Clouds and Sky. Stay tuned for part 4, which is going to be mixing greens for the trees, shrubs, and grasses.